How you doing, brother?
I'm good, JoJo. Good morning.
Bring me up to speed. It's been a couple weeks.
It's been a little while. So last time we chit-chatted was right before the big show. Let's talk about the big show.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So for those of you who missed it, shame on you. It was a blast. We were at downtown Youngstown, Dior Performing Arts Center. Sam Blasko kicked it off. Joe did his thing. We did the Joe and Blasko Show, which I think was very popular.
Oh, so good.
So for those of you who missed it, we did this on stage back and forth. And we had some cool topics, but I wanted to get your overall view of how you thought the night went.
It went great. Like, it was everything I wanted it to be. I think, you know, I entered this one as usually as a promoter. You go into something and there's some anxieties about what will happen. I just went into chill mode where I was like, life is going to hand me whatever is going to happen, and I am going to take it and make absolutely the best of it. And I felt like I controlled myself really well.
Oh, yeah.
And everything responded accordingly.
You were cool as a cucumber.
Thank you.
It was very awesome. The only thing I didn't like was I wanted more people. You know me. I like the big crowds. Next time, let's pack that place.
You know it.
All right, so it is the graduation time of year right now. I just had my daughter, Angelie, graduate, and we had her party. I was just telling BJ on Sunday. We had it at the Purple Cat Farm, which is a gorgeous place to be. Jimmy Sutman does beautiful things out there with the camp he's creating, and it was awesome. So 2 down, 1 to go. My youngest daughter is a junior, so I have 2 more years. I get a little break before the next graduation. But let's talk about graduations. The whole ceremony, the whole parties. I have 15,000 parties to go to because when you have a child at that age who's graduating, you get invited to most of their friends' parties.
Right.
So I have, and no one can steal this idea, but my go-to gift for any kid graduating who's going away to school or living on campus, I go and I buy a huge plastic bin and I fill it with all kinds of shit. I'm talking Oreos, Cheez-Its, Goldfish, beef jerky, Pringles, Gatorade, and I fill that son of a bitch all the way to the top, and I put a card in it, and I walk in, and I drop it. And every kid who's ever received one loves it because they just take it to their dorm, and it's kind of like their snack food thing. So that's my go-to gift. And then anyone who's going to school and not living on campus, I usually try to I send them a check and stuff. But to me, you can give anyone a check. It's fine. But that gift of bringing that bin, it's like my staple. It's my thing. What are your thoughts on gifts and what do you do and blah, 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 blah?
So I'm the opposite of you. I could not be more removed from the thoughts or thinking that goes into it.
Okay.
And I've deferred and outsourced that to my wife, who's much more thoughtful than I am.
Okay.
And so usually I'm finding out what I gave to someone at the same time they are receiving it.
Right.
So,
you're like, whoa, what a surprise
yeah,
for
and
both of us.
My wife does very well. How about that? She does a very good job of lining up what she gives specific for that person.
Yeah, and sometimes you tweak it here and there depending on who the kid is. I mean, my daughter has, friends that she's close with, and then the friends she's really close with, and friends she's semi-close, so... but every kid, I think, loves that bin. So that's what I do. So my thoughts are high school graduation. It's a big ceremony. But you know what's funny? I was thinking we actually celebrate high school graduation more big than college graduation.
Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, there's no party. When my kid graduates college, there's going to be no party. But high school, there's a big party. There's a hoopla. Is it because we're sending them off to college? Because to me, it seems like they should have that party and get all those gifts and money or whatever after college when they really need it. What are your thoughts on that?
Time invested. I would say they got 12 years under their belt of investing into something, so it's a big thing. College, it's a shorter time period.
Right, 4 years.
They don't need as much encouragement. Like what they need from we're proud of you is less at the college level.
Okay, that
simply
makes
because
sense.
like you have somebody who has a 50-year wedding anniversary. They've got 50 years invested, so you make those a little bit bigger than like your second year anniversary.
Okay, all right. Speaking of anniversaries, do you follow the guidelines? So I was married for 15 years. I've been divorced now for 8 years. But do you follow the guidelines? Year 1 is paper, or year 2 is wood, year 5 is silver, gold. Do you know any of that?
Surprisingly,
is this ringing a bell to you at all?
I know that exists, and the stupidity of the things that we do astound me.
I never bought into that.
No.
I never, but in 15 years, I never bought into, okay, this is the 4th anniversary, it should be a piece of metal, or this is the 7th anniversary, it should be a plant, whatever. No?
Part of me wants to go back and find out what the origin of those things were, and it probably in the 1800s, metal was so valuable
Right.
that everybody was like, "Man, what I could go for this year
Salt.
is some freaking metal."
Sugar,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Now we're like, "You got me a piece of metal. Guess where this is going to end up?
Right.
In storage, in the garbage. Total useless exchange." I'm too practical.
Too practical. All right, back to graduation. So high school graduation is a beautiful thing. College graduation, I get it. That was a good point you made. It makes sense. What are your thoughts on preschool graduation?
Oh,
Okay, I'm dying to know what you think about 5-year-olds. Now, I think I'll give you my opinion
Okay,
first.
go ahead.
So my kids went to For Kids' Sake, which is a phenomenal preschool in Boardman. Cindy Allegretto runs it. She's awesome. It's a wonderful preschool. She actually had a ceremony off-site, and I thought, this is going to be wild. And the kids were in caps and gowns, but I actually appreciated it because one of the best pictures I got with me and I think it was my daughter Natalie is me holding her, and she's wearing this little cap and gown. It's cute. But what are your thoughts on preschool graduation?
I feel like you're setting me up for the bad cop in every one of these discussions.
Well, I know you're not going to like it. I knew
So-
100% right off the bat you're not going to like it.
All right. So I did an unscientific poll where I took, 4 and 5-year-olds and I asked them what the experience was like, and they were like,
You did
"What
for real?"
No.
Oh, shit.
Not at all.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's for the parents, and anytime
100%.
anytime we do that kind of crap for the parents' enjoyment, it's stupid.
Waters it down for the
Totally
kid.
stupid.
I do agree. I mean, preschool, it's kind of like, do we really need to have a hoopla and a ceremony? High school, yes. Grade school, no. I don't think grade school graduation is a thing. I mean, I know it's a thing. But I don't think there was a party.
Yeah, I can remember they had like
award
award ceremonies
Right.
where they would give the medals out and the trophies and whatever, and that would be meaningful to a kid if you were getting one of those. I never got any of those.
Participation?
No
ribbon?
participation at that time. I think the one I was hoping for was probably the most improved student. So like I would really slack off at the beginning so that there was some contrast by
Right.
the end. And I was in the running for that one at least. But I was tardy all the time. I missed a bunch of school. Not very athletic at that time. So yeah, I was my only one.
All right. So we're both in agreement that high school graduation is good. Thumbs up. Like you said, 12 years an accomplishment. Send them off.
Absolutely.
Okay. Something that was brought up during our event, which was thrown out by my sister-in-law, Chrissy, which I thought was a great topic, and I'd like to talk to you about it a little bit more. And it was the topic of tipping. Remember we had that discussion about with regards to everyone wants a tip nowadays just for doing their regular job. To me, it should be above and beyond. If someone serves me in person, I'm going to tip them. If someone's just working a register and they're just popping in 2 burgers and a fry, and then all of a sudden they twist the thing around and it says tip, I'm thinking, who the hell's getting this tip? I mean, is it the person flipping the burgers? Is it the person? So I am against all the tipping right now that is being thrown in our face. I think it's overboard. I think it started to build when COVID hit, which I get. People were losing money. People weren't working as much. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Is it crazy?
What is the function of a tip? Is taking extraordinary service and then giving a financial reward for working super hard.
Okay.
So if you tip everybody, then you're not really rewarding everybody. You're
Correct.
just built
It's like
it into the
participation
cost of the-
ribbons.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I would rather there be less, but then do more when it is exemplary
When
service.
it's applicable, and
Absolutely.
I agree. So I'm all, you do the calculator, they say standards 20%, whatever. But based on who the person is serving and how friendly they were, I'll give 30, 40. Sometimes my daughters and I will go somewhere and just for the hell of it, we'll do a 50% tip, just to make that person's day.
If you get the impression that you were overwhelmed with how great the service was and you were moved to do it, that's when it should apply.
Right. I went to Five Guys the other day, and I mean, it was $20-some just for me for a burger and a fry and so. And then they flip the thing around and it says tip, and I go, I feel pressure. I think most people just do it, yes, because they feel embarrassed. They don't want to feel like people think they're cheap or this and that. But the bottom line is, I don't want someone to think I don't appreciate them, but I don't think it should be a monetary value whether or not I appreciate you. I mean, I appreciate you making my burger and fry, but monetarily, I don't think I have to reward
All right, I
you
got
for
one
doing
for you,
that.
though.
It's your job.
I got one for you.
Let me hear it.
So you roll up to the drive-through window and they say, would you like to donate to the starving children?
Oh, right.
Would you like to put $2 in? And I'm the guy that says, no, thank you.
Right.
Every single time.
I have my own donations that I give to certain areas, and
But
I
do you
don't-
feel like an absolute douche?
Oh
saying
yeah.
no to
Oh,
that
I feel like a
every time?
douchebag. I feel like they think I don't like the starving children in Africa or wherever they are. Yeah, but I've learned to just let that go because I think that person asking for that donation to whoever, it's become systematic for them. So they're so numb to it, they just say it. They don't care. So I don't feel guilty about that. I really don't. Because first of all, who's it really going to? I don't know. Like even that Giant Eagle, even getting gas nowadays, it's like, do you want to make a donation? I'm like, to who is this going to? No. And that's not that I'm cheap. I give tons of donations. You can look at my tax return. My charitable donations every year are good, I think, in my opinion. Whatever. There's no number. But I feel good about who I give to and when I give it. Speaking of gas station pumps, it drives me nuts when I go to pump my gas and it takes me 10 minutes before I can start pumping because there's 50,000 questions. What's your cousin's neighbor's sister's name? Do you want this? Do you want
Do you have
that?
rewards? Would you like to sign up for a credit card?
Oh, so many
What'd you have for
different
dinner
things.
last
Do you
night?
want a car wash? I'm like, it's freaking December. No one's getting a car wash right now. That always drives me nuts. So we talk graduation, we talk tipping, and so we're on the same page. Then
For sure.
you should only be tipped. I think you even brought this up the night of the event. A nurse comes in, does a bang up job in the emergency room for you. He or she just does well. They're kind. They're not. Are you giving them a 20 spot on the way out? No, they're not getting tipped. And in fact, if anyone should be tipped, it's someone like that who's really putting forth the service.
Now, have you ever been in a place that you kind of don't know that it's a lot of tipping goes on there, and you get the awkward guy that waits around and you're trying to figure out what he's waiting for,
Oh.
and it never makes the connection that he's used to getting a tip around this point?
I have not had that experience, but every time I think of that experience, I think of Home Alone in New York. Do you remember the movie Home Alone in New York? Macaulay Culkin is there in the whatever hotel he got into with his dad's credit card, and what's his name? He's in all the Adam Sandler movies. Not Martin Short. He's in the grown-up movie where he's dating the older lady, gets
Yeah, I
the
can't
arrow
think of
through
his
his
name.
foot. Come on, what's his name? Rob Schneider.
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 Okay. Yeah.
So Schneider is at the door. Remember, he's the bellhop. And
Yes.
he's like this.
Yeah.
And then Macaulay Culkin looks and takes his gum out and gives it to him. But you're right. There are some people who expect that. And again, when you go to a fancy resort, do you tip this person? Do you tip that person? It's just, I don't know. There are certain places where it's applicable to tip and other places where you're just doing your job.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
when you
mean?
go on like a cruise, there's a mandatory 20% tip
Right.
that's added to your bill even before you leave.
Correct.
So you tip them and you
And
didn't
then
even
you feel like you
experience
give
them.
Right. You don't even know what the experience is like or the service is like.
Right. So
and
it's not really a tip.
No,
not
it's
a
just
tip.
like a added to their salary or their whatever,
Yeah.
their paycheck.
Just lost its all function.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's hear it. What do you got?
So before you came in, I was watching the Starship launch today. So
Oh, now that is who?
this is Elon Musk,
Musk. Okay, Musk
and
is
this
the
is the
Starship.
trip that will eventually take us to Mars.
Oh, this is going to be taking passengers.
So this is the fourth test. They got regulatory approval to send these things off. I've been paying attention to it since the very first launch.
Okay.
And so and right now there is actually what is being billed as the most important announcement that Elon Musk has ever made. Is happening right now. Don't know what it was going to be.
Wait,
but
right now, as in we're on the
As-
air, you should be listening to it. Is that
Yes.
what you were listening to walking in?
I was. And so take a guess. Connected with Starship, what do you think the most important announcement is going to be?
From him?
From him.
Regarding that.
Yes. And then we can compare it because it's already happened now. We can do real time.
He's gonna make it electric. He's gonna make an
Electric?
electric rocket.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
No.
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 Could
They
he
need-
though?
No.
I mean,
we
he-
already decided that you can't create enough thrust using
Okay.
electric
Okay.
engines.
All right.
So,
So that
no
would be
thrust.
my
That's
guess.
off the table.
That would be my
Well,
guess.
go to another one because the electric rocket's probably-
financially, he's going to be able to do it within someone's budget. Like
Okay.
down the road, be able to bring people to space or Mars or wherever.
Okay.
He's going to do it within 5 years.
Okay.
And
Good guesses.
None are correct.
Well,
though, right?
let me. I don't know either. I have no
I
idea.
thought you knew the answer.
No,
oh,
I
shit.
haven't.
Okay.
No, it's happened.
Okay, well, those are my guesses. What do you think?
Okay, well, let me give you some more information. And so, like the first couple missions that go there, aren't going to be human beings. They're going to send drones and robots
To
start
land,
building
actually?
and start building infrastructure, start doing exploratory
This is the
missions.
Mars, not Moon.
Mars.
Okay.
Right.
Has
So
he been there yet?
this
has
ship has only got into Earth's orbit and then come back down.
Okay, so he's just going.
So they want to make sure safe up, safe
down. Okay, so
Right.
that's what they're doing. They're not actually going to
Not
the
yet.
planet. Okay,
Not yet.
okay.
All right. So
Okay.
my guess is that they are going to announce a date where they're going to launch the first robots that go. Like they've been perfecting the android, the actual robot that does stuff.
Okay.
And I think that thing is going to go to Mars within the next year.
Okay. You think that's the prediction?
Yep.
So not a human yet, obviously,
Nope.
but we're gonna finally land on Mars, drop a
Have a
rover
robot.
off, checking things out, sending data.
Not even a robot, or a rover, a robot, something that can walk around and behave like we do, where it
Beep,
can
beep,
start
beep, 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 beep.
picking up stuff and
Wow.
doing stuff. That's what I think it's going to be.
I mean, listen. I mean, if we're going as far as we are right now, I don't see why it couldn't happen within a year. I mean, they probably have the robot sitting in the corner.
They
It's just
do.
the fact that you got to get them to the Mars.
A 7-month trip.
Is that? I was just gonna say.
7
no,
months
no.
to get
Wait
to
a
Mars.
second. Wait.
Yes.
So wait, this thing that landed, this starship that blasted off today, is not going there. But how long is it going to go up in orbit?
It takes about an hour to be able to cycle back through and then land back here because these first couple trips. I don't know if you know this, but they are completely predicting that it is going to be a one-way trip for whoever human goes. They do not
shish
expect
kebabs.
because think about it. They're going to use the fuel to get there.
Okay.
They're not going to be able to create new fuel on Mars for quite a bit before they
Right.
can create the oxygen and create the methane, create the gases and harvest them to fuel a rocket to come back. So it's a one-way trip for whoever decides to go over there first. You will die on Mars. Hopefully
I
not
don't want to
immediately.
ask you this question, but
Yeah.
I think I know the answer.
Yes, the answer is
Okay,
yes.
keep going, folks.
That-
He would do it. He
Totally.
would do it. Oh my God! Would your family go with you?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But you
My-
wouldn't do it within the next 4 years, 5 years. I think you'd feel like you would miss something.
There's going to
Here.
be so much. Well, you mean when I'm gone?
Correct.
Yeah, that would suck.
I mean,
That
come
would suck.
on.
But given the opportunity to be one of the first people to Mars, I have to take it.
Oh my goodness! All right, let me ask you this
Yeah.
then: if we have the capacity to drop a robot, what's to say we can't do 40 launches before we send a human, and each launch, instead of dropping a robot, we drop fuel off that we'll need to then come back? So now, when we start going to take humans to Mars, there's already a reservoir and resource of fuel that's been brought over years and years that's there, so maybe we can come home. I mean, couldn't that be an option?
Possibly, but they're set on manufacturing the fuel on Mars rather than carrying it there. Because I think it's right now they're already dealing with how much weight to carry the humans and the cargo and whatever. The fuel just weighs so much, and it's so dangerous to just have a cargo full of fuel anyhow.
I can't even comprehend 7 months.
7 months is a long trip.
Okay, well, I mean, so you can get to the moon in how long? How long did it take Armstrong
like
and those guys to
maybe
get there?
12 hours.
Right.
Yeah, not very
So
long.
is it's that much further away?
At its closest, its elliptical orbit means that at some
So-
points it's longer than that.
Is that the closest one? What other planets closer to us that we could explore? Like, why aren't we exploring other planets? Why are we going so far? Why?
So it can actually
There's Jupiter,
it is the
Saturn,
close-
Uranus, Venus.
It's closest to be habitable. All
Oh,
the rest of
that's
the
it.
gas planets.
We know that?
Yeah, it just can't. That's the nicest one closest to
Okay.
us,
Okay.
and that's far distance. Like think about when we start traveling to places that take 100 years to get there, generations to get there. Right? You would have to get on a spaceship, procreate on the spaceship, so that your kids, when they grow up,
Oh my
could then
gosh.
inhabit wherever you're headed, or they put you in a tube and deep freeze you and then wake you
Okay.
up so you don't
Right.
age or die on the way there. Which is more likely to just use human procreation to get there, or a popsicle maker.
Wow. That's wild. I don't know. 7 months is a long time
It's a long
for anything,
trip.
let alone being stuck in a rocket ship going to a place that you're not coming back from. How long do you think you could inhabit then Mars if you were up
It's gonna be a while because
No, I'm saying if you made it there, how long do you think you could live on there? But you think you just live the rest of your life there?
Yeah.
Oh, you think
live the
okay,
rest of your
okay,
life there.
okay.
You're now a worker bee that's trying to make it habitable
Okay,
for
okay.
the next year. Because the first ones, they're going to be living in tents first.
Okay, right,
And they're
there's
going to
no-
build, like, you have to live underground because the air is so toxic and it's so cold. They have to dig the homes into the ground so that it's close enough to the core of Mars that it's hot enough to be able to survive.
Okay.
It's not a nice place to live. It
No.
is. But because it doesn't have atmosphere, they're going to create atmosphere. They're going to create global warming on Mars so that people can survive it.
Can they create seasons? No.
Eventually,
Can't
yeah.
like summer,
it
winter,
has the
spring, fall.
same kind of solar
same
cycles
kind of
that we
solar
have.
cycles as we have.
So it just needs atmosphere because it can't trap any of the heat that it creates anyway. It just goes into space.
That's wild. I can't even comprehend it, JoJo.
But I'm going to assume you're not going to be on those early flights to Mars.
No. Negative.
You think any of those, you know how like the billionaire thing to do is to jump in a submarine and pay all this money to go, you know.
Last time that happened, those guys didn't come back.
Yeah. And so there's going to be a bunch of billionaires who's like, I'm in, let's do it.
I would think though they would think if I don't know why we can't. I mean, I know why you're saying we can't get back. I get it, the fuel source, but can't we invent something so that once we're there, we repower to come back?
We will eventually.
know.
Just those
You're right.
early guys know that they're not really high chance of ever
Are there
coming
people who would sign up for that besides you, obviously?
back. Yes, of course. They probably got a waiting list already, and I'm not even on it.
Oh gosh. All right. So Joe and Kellen have been doing a show lately. If you haven't seen it, what are we calling it?
What is it? Unpopular opinions.
That's it. Unpopular
Yes.
opinions, which I kind of dug. And one of the things that was discussed the last time you two met face to face was virtual world in 10 years. Kellen's like, 10 years? That goes pretty quick. And Joe's like, yeah, it's going to happen. So what does that mean, though, in a virtual world? So, I mean, just everything's virtual with regards to every meeting, every movie I see, every show, everything I do, every piece of pizza I eat. I mean, how virtual would a virtual world be?
Everything that you experience. Because most of us believe that we're already in a simulation.
Okay.
Picture what you're experiencing right now. You
Right.
don't know what it's like to be outside of this.
Okay.
So this is your reality. So if someone can deliver you a believable reality and you don't reject it, that's your reality. You can drink coffee, you can sleep, you can watch TV, you can go outside, because everything is basically tricked into your analog senses to get into your brain.
How would they put that in there?
Well, all right. So what Neuralink is doing, another Elon Musk company,
Okay.
is they're taking electrodes and they're connecting it directly into your brain.
Okay.
So like when you see light, it hits your eyeballs. The eyeballs then translate it into optical information. It's sent to your brain, and then your brain interprets what was just seen.
Okay.
So if I pop my eyeballs out and put a wire directly on the optic nerve, I can simulate vision digitally rather than having it be translated from optical analog down to digital information. And so you would just do
Cutting
that.
out that middleman.
Yeah. So you pop your eyeballs out, you see what you're given what you should be seeing, and if I have a picture of this room, I can pipe that room right into your eyeballs.
What would happen to our show?
We'd still do
How
it.
would the show go on?
The coolest thing about this digital interface with the brain is like we're having a conversation, which means I'm saying words that you're interpreting and putting into ideas.
Okay.
I'm going to be able to just send you the idea without having to go through the whole speech and translation portion. You know,
And
like
it
in
will
Matrix.
transmit to my mind.
Yeah. So remember in Matrix, he plugs himself in and he was like, "I know jujitsu."
You're not going to like this, Joe. I've never seen The Matrix.
We can't be friends.
I know.
We can't.
I know you are going to like that. I've
can't-
never seen. I have to watch it. I know the guy's name's Neo.
Yeah,
Someone's
Neo,
Neo. All right,
yeah.
I'm going to watch The Matrix.
Okay. So if you wanted to learn
So I'm going to get a little bit
something,
about your brain.
you just download the entire thing into your brain in its entirety.
Okay.
And then you have to go through the parsing individual item by individual.
All right, so
item.
we could do that here. What about the listener out there? How would they receive the information? during
Immediately.
this?
They will.
how would
be
they plug
able,
in then?
Right now, they would have to hear it, right?
Right.
Then
Process
you will
it.
have heard it.
Okay.
So they would just plant the sum of this show into their brain without having to like listen to a duration. You don't have to listen to it. You just get the
It's
whole
beyond
show.
me. It's beyond me.
immediately.
I can't even comprehend that. All right.
It's what it's going to be.
I got you. Listen, I just can't comprehend it. It's
You won't
wild.
have to in the future. The idea
It'll
will
just be there.
defy
popping- okay,
comprehension.
all right.
You won't have to translate. You won't have to misunderstand.
Okay, well, let me ask you this
Yeah.
then. All right, let's say with food. What about the body actually needs nourishment? So you can't artificially, intelligently put food as a substance into my body just by me visualizing myself eating a pizza is not the same as the actual pizza or whatever, taking a vitamin, going into the system.
Well, it's the
How do
same
you do
thing.
that?
Think of information. So we have organs that we put food in, and it
Right,
breaks it down into
right.
chemical components. What if we skip the translation part and just put the chemical components that would have come through into the bloodstream and put it directly in?
Okay, all right. I
Right?
see
But
what you
then
mean.
there's going to be a point where you don't even need organs. You can just be a brain in a jar,
Oh,
right?
jeez.
Because that's really all that's necessary. We
But
can.
that's no fun.
The brain needs oxygen, which
I
we
like
can
this.
give it.
I like this. I
But
don't want
what
to be a
if,
brain
what if
just
this
in a jar.
never existed? What if that was your exposure or your experience? You
If
would
that's
never
all
know
I
what
knew,
you didn't miss.
right? But I know. But now the fact that I do know this, I would miss this.
So if you could take
So
a
future
pill,
generations might not.
if you could take a pill, which means that it's all your nutrition that you need for the day. You take one pill and you're done. You don't have
Right.
to eat anything for the rest of the day. Gives you everything that you need. Would you do it? You get to skip all of that time
Yes,
wasted
yes.
with lunches and dinners. You get 2
I
hours
s-
of your
okay,
day
I
back.
say yes, but I still sometimes like going to dinner and having that ambiance and experience and that conversation across the table. I think we'd lose that again, but you'd gain something else. I guess 2 hours of time you could do something else.
Okay, let's
That's
go back to
how- if I could do it when I wanted to. Yes.
let's go back to the simulation. So the simulation equals utopia.
Okay.
You put things there that you want, and you get to remove things that you really didn't enjoy. So if you want to go to dinner, you don't have to do it for the sake of nutrition. Nutrition's being given to you.
Oh, you
so if
just
you want
do
to
it
go
f-
out and socialize, you put what? I mean, if you had the choice of populate everything in your simulation, there would be things that you wouldn't do anymore because you don't have to now, right?
Okay.
If you like talking to people, you bring that. You don't like arguing with people, you don't bring that. And you get a laundry list of things that you would totally exclude from your simulation. If you needed a mate, and you get to build your mate in the simulation, there's certain things you would not invite into your simulation.
Oh,
and certain things
I
you
got a
absolutely
long list of
would.
those things that
Yes,
would-
it would be just like that. I don't like
right.
eating anymore, so I'm not going to do it. I love singing, so I'm going to do it.
I do like the pill idea, though. I mean, if you think about it, we have some supplements right now that do that already. You know, if you're not getting enough vitamin D from the sun, you can take this pill, and it gives you the vitamins. So we kind of already do that, right? To some
yeah.
degree, obviously. But you're saying to the next level where
Yeah, just measuring what you need and just giving enough so that your brain in the jar stays alive. That's really all that would be required. And you being in a jar.
Can I ask BJ what he thinks about
All right.
this? BJ,
You want to chime in?
he's talking about AI. He's talking about, would you take a pill that gave you all the nutrients you ever needed with regards to what the food would do, and then you don't have to eat anymore?
I mean, eventually, if we get to that point where it's, I would tell you this, just from a time perspective, because I'm so ADHD, I would take a pill to not have to eat again.
I
right
kind
now.
of,
Man.
I agree, but then I miss that camaraderie of sitting across from someone at a table. But then you're saying I could still do
You
that.
can still do
You can
that.
still do it. I can still break out. But if for most days, if I
Right.
didn't have to think about eating, I wouldn't. I would take a pill.
I think
Absolutely.
95% of my food consumption is just to sustain my life. There's only that 5% where I do like a nice dinner and this and
Yeah.
that. But you're right. That 95% of the time I'm eating, it's just so I can live.
Yep.
All right. There you go, folks. BJ.
Love you, BJ.
BJ. He just said that because he's working with you completely.
That's his real feelings. I'm an oddity, and with a exponent of 4. He's an oddity with an exponent of 1.
Right.
So
I'm
just
probably -5
negative.
with my oddity. All right, Joe.
That's why we can be friends.
I love it, buddy. All right. Good talk.